Roll Tide, everybody. It's time for Elephant in the Room with Jake Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie. We're going to talk some recruiting today, and we're also going to get into some comments that Kalen DeBoer made on an interview with AL.com about Alabama's starting quarterback situation and the new offensive coordinator. So all that right here on Elephant in the Room. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. We're proudly presented by Pearl River Resort in Philadelphia, Mississippi. So come check us out there. The Azaleas, the Oaks, two amazing golf courses at Dancing Rabbit, which is really the Augusta that you can play. All right, let's get the show started. And the only way that I know how to do that is to play Jake's Open. All right, there he is, Jake Coker, Mick Gillispie. Jake, with all these podcasts popping up, and Trent Richardson and A.J. McCarron have one, and the Bama Standard, a lot of good podcasts. You have to feel very confident when your open plays like, hey, this is like you're running out of the locker room, or maybe you're walking out behind Coach Saban, but that open just it really separates you from the other podcasters out there.
You know, I saw a commercial with AJ and Trent and Chris on TV the other day. I was like, man, they got commercials, and I'm sitting here looking at our open like, man, we got to do some work here.
Where's the investment, man? We're over 160 episodes, pals.
That's kind of our. I mean, that's our deal, though. You know. Hey, we're low budget. We just make it happen. It's low key over here. You know?
Yeah, this is the
have a good time, and it is what it is.
This is the Waffle House of podcasts. Smothered, covered.
This is This is the blue collar version.
Well, let's talk some recruiting today. And for those of you guys that are hanging out, please be a part of our show. Get in the comment section. Give us a thumbs up. That's a way of saying Roll Tide as you hang out with us today. All right, recruiting battle right now for the number one player in the state of Alabama, Cadarian Morgan. Bama Online says that he said it's the toughest decision that he's ever had to make, or something to those, to that extent. He's a 5-star according to Rivals, according to 24/7 Sports. On 3, ESPN have him as a 4-star, but he's anywhere from the number 1 player in the state to the number 2 player in the state, the number 2 wide receiver in the country. He goes to Benjamin Russell High School in Alex City, Alabama. He is going to reveal his decision on July the 2nd. And Alabama's been working on him for a long time, but he's also being heavily sought after by schools like Auburn and Georgia. This is a tough decision for any of these guys, but for Alabama, I feel like they really have to knock down these in-state guys, and he's one of the 3 that I feel like are at the top of the list, along with Ezekiel Crowell and Tank Jones.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that he released his top 6, not too long ago, and I hear the names of Georgia, Colorado, but I hear the top 2 in Alabama and Auburn, and I think that lends a lot to what he's looking at in terms of decision. He wants. I think he loves the football within the state of Alabama. To me, that sounds like NIL is not the driving factor in his decision. Now, before we got on this show, I kind of told you my thoughts on where NIL money should be spent, and wide receiver, especially under Kalen DeBoer's leadership, is a must-have position. And when I watched Cadarian Morgan play, at first I saw videos from 2022, and I was like, hang on now, this, I'm looking at him when he's like 15 years old, thinking he's in the 2026 class coming out now, and I didn't realize it. Then all of a sudden the 2025 videos popped up, and I was like, good Lord, this guy. I mean, you watch receivers and you're not real sure. There's a lot of factors that go into playing receiver. I mean, the discipline, route running, hands, or is he fluid? Is he mechanical? What kind of size does he have? Is he going to be able to come in and play early? And when I watch him on the field, just how smooth he is, his size. I mean, I saw, you see all these comparisons from these guys that talk about, previous players and how he fits that mold. And, I kind of put Ryan Williams in the Calvin Ridley category for now. I mean, extreme explosiveness, not quite big enough yet for me to put him in that Julio category where he's really dominant and physical, running routes, pushing guys around and creating space. He does it a lot with athleticism and just world-class athleticism. Cadarian Morgan, to me, he fits more in that Julio category. You look at his size. I mean, I know he's 6'4" and 210 doesn't look crazy big for that frame, but you see the way he's built, and there's a lot of efficiency in that body. I mean, there's not a lot of fat, a lot of muscle, really physical. And when you see guys like that, you're not sure if he's going to be robotic and catching the ball, but you watch him catch the ball and his hands are smooth. He knows how to use them, gets them away from defenders. I think he's one of those guys that comes in early and can play. And back to my original point, when you see Alabama and Auburn in your top two, to me, again, NIL is not the driving factor. That is kind of the guy that Alabama really needs to focus on and get, because I think he's going to go to Alabama or Auburn for the right reasons, because he wants to be involved in this tradition, wants to play at one of these schools. To me, sounds like Alabama is leading. And when you look at, if you're Alabama and Auburn's your next competitor, to me, that puts you in the driver's seat. You look at Auburn right now. I like Hugh Freeze, but the state of Auburn football right now is up in the air to me. I heard Dunaway and the guys talking about it, I want to say yesterday or the day before. When he makes comments like, well, we need to make it to a bowl game this year. You're kind of done selling the future for Auburn. Like, you got to prove it now. And you're not sure, really. He's had some pretty good recruiting classes, but the same product has been put on the field the last 2 or 3 years. To me, with Kalen DeBoer, last year was, after watching us play Georgia, and you see our ceiling, which is right there competing with the top level of competition, it makes you believe that we've got the potential under Kalen DeBoer to be still that national power. And to me, when you look at the recruits that he's bringing in, a lot of big star guys, but he's also filling in those 3-star spots with guys I think he's building culture with that he knows aren't going to transfer very quickly. They're going to work their way into the lineup at some point. He's going to be able to develop them and develop that culture. I just love the view and what the future looks like when you look at these recruiting classes under Kalen DeBoer. And I think these recruits, they see that. I think they feel that momentum. And we're in a much better spot, in my opinion, than Auburn is right now. Auburn should be hitting their stride. They should be looking at those at the playoff for sure by now, if you feel like you're in a good spot. And when I look at Auburn next year, you tell me how you feel. To me, a playoff spot seems less likely than just a regular bowl game. Alabama, we're in that conversation. We should be in the playoff, I believe. We've got the pieces as long as everything goes well, during the season in terms of injuries and we beat the people we should beat. I think we're there. So makes me feel really good about Cadarian Morgan. Again, I think he's a guy that comes in and plays fairly quickly. When I watch him on the field, his physicality, his fluid route running, the way he catches the ball, I think it's a great spot for him. You got to feel good. Auburn, Alabama's had Ty Simpson there for 3 years. We've seen him play. I think he's going to be solid. I think there's a better chance of him surprising us and playing better than we all thought than it is for him to come in and everybody's kind of wondering, is he a weakness? I think he's going to be a strength for us. I think he provides leadership out there. I feel much better about our quarterback situation with Ty Simpson, and then you got Mack and Keelan Russell right behind him. Just the long-term standing of Alabama football to me is in a much better spot. And so for those to be his last two or his top two, you got to feel really good about it.
I guess to me, and there's a lot to unpack there.
Sorry,
I'm just wondering.
To have a whole monologue there, but
no, it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
But I don't know. When we made this ruling that you could basically compensate college football or really college athletes, which at Alabama will be football, men's basketball, how we're still paying high school recruits that never played a game before NIL money, right? I mean, in that, and I guess I'm just wondering when we're going to go from, when we're going to get to the point where they need to show up and play some football before they get paid,
Yeah.
and this isn't an attack on Morgan or any of these guys. Bama's trying to get Ezekiel Crowell and word is highest bidder, and I don't blame them. I mean, look, that's everybody that has a job does that. Look, if somebody comes in and, they're going to give you more money than the other person, you're going to listen to them.
Well, to a certain degree, and when I talk about these guys, and we've had these conversations before, I mean, the highest a guy looking for that highest bidder doesn't always translate, in my opinion, to the guy that's going to show up and outwork everybody and reach his full potential. Because to me, and Alabama fits this mold. You look at schools and look, I mean, Texas, you get paid a lot up front to go to Texas because of the amount of money they have. I mean, you get on the field and you play well, you're going to be compensated. There's no way around that. You're on a big stage at Texas. Same with Ohio State. But when you're looking at Alabama, you say you love Alabama, but you're also looking at Texas, looking at Georgia, Ohio State. I mean, if you love Alabama, you got to have some confidence in saying, okay, look, I'm going to get in here and I'm going to work my ass off. I'm going to create value for myself, create value for Alabama at the same time, and create a name for myself. I mean, you do those things the right way, the money's going to come. I mean, at some point you got to have some belief in yourself after just collecting that first paycheck and showing up on campus. I mean, because I hate to break it to everybody, but that first paycheck, I mean, they're paying for you to show up. Those checks aren't going to keep cashing if you're not performing on the field, and you'll be quickly forgotten, and everybody's going to remember the amount of money you got paid when you showed up. So the spotlight's on you, and you better perform.
Yeah, right. And I mean, eventually, maybe some of that'll change. But you're dealing with Texas and all their money. Ohio State bought the championship last year. LSU just won the College World Series. I want to know what the difference between the NIL money that they spent on their roster and what Coastal Carolina spent. I mean, and it's not even comparable. I bet LSU spent, my gut feeling is that LSU spends more money than anybody else, right? And when you have the best players, you're going to win. Maybe you're not going to win all the games, but you're going to win. And, these guys grew up Alabama fans. Cadarian Morgan grew up. I read a story about him growing up an Alabama fan. Family got together to watch the Tide play. That probably included you. But for Alabama to get these guys, the Tank Joneses and the Crowells and all that, they have to have the money. But you're saying, hey, you also have to have the motivation if you're one of the players. And I'm sure that's your perspective, that you better show your ass up and be ready to play. And that's not going to happen with all these guys.
Yeah,
And it
yeah. I
doesn't
mean,
look. It's been like that forever. I mean, even before the money, people show up with all the hype and don't perform. Right?
yeah. I mean, well, if I'm a if I'm a dad, if I'm a dad and I've got a son being recruited, I mean, we're finding the school that he fits best or that fits my son the best. The coaches, are people that I trust and I know are going to, develop my son on and off the field. And they're guys that I feel like my son can learn from and emulate, moving forward and become a better person, a better football player. And then we start talking about money after that.
Right.
Hey, what can we do here? It's not something that I would focus on, right off the bat. Again, you're finding the best school for you, the best coaches for you. And then, hey, guys, I've got my top three. Let's talk about money. What can you do? What do you think? This is not what it's all about, but this is the scenario that we are in now. And I want to see my son make some money and do well for himself, but that's not the focus of our conversation.
Right.
And that's the way I would approach it. Now, I mean, everybody's got their motivations, but a big paycheck up front, that doesn't solve all your problems.
Mm-hmm. One thing you said that I did like, though, was you were just talking about Auburn and how you just didn't think that they you didn't. There's a lot of hype. There's a lot of confidence. I've heard from some people down on the plains that this is going to be a big turnaround season for them. I don't disagree. I'm not saying that I know anything other than
Look,
in your mind, they're just trying to make a bowl game, and for them to make the college football playoff, they're going to have a tremendous season. But they do have Alabama and Georgia on their home field this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I like Hugh Freeze. I hope he does well. And again, he's the first coach that ever gave me an offer. I pull for him. I truly want to see him do well. And, I think it's better for the state when Alabama and Auburn are good.
Can I totally disagree with you on that? For the record, I want him to lose every game. And, I want Auburn to keep stinking. Like 5 in a row? No, I want it to 10 in a row.
Oh, no. I said when both teams are good, but I never want them ever to beat Alabama, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Even when they're bad, they give us a hard time, though. That's the problem.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I want them to be – I want it to be a situation where if kids are picking between Alabama and Auburn – they're picking Alabama every time. So, yeah, I may have to walk back that statement just a little bit, but
it's funny. Hey guys, let me say a couple things. Let me say a couple things before we talk about the quarterback situation in Alabama. Mentioned to you that we're brought to you by our friends over at Pearl River Resort, Philadelphia, Mississippi. The Dancing Rabbit Golf Course. It's the Augusta you can play, and when you go, you're going to want to look good, and you can do that at rowback.com. 20% off using our code Crimson20. Each email address gets you 20% off. Take advantage of it. Not just that awesome hoodie, but also a bunch of really cool golf shirts, which will get you ready for obviously being out on the links or opening kick when Alabama takes on Florida State in this year's Coker Bowl. So make sure that you guys look good and do it at rowback.com, 20% off. And look, God forbid you're a Florida State fan. They got you covered. They got the Auburn fans covered, but they got Alabama covered like a blanket.
No, but to go back to the Auburn point, again, I'm not sure what the cumulative record of Auburn is since Hugh Freeze showed up, but I know it's right around 50-50.
All right.
Like no Auburn fans are going to look back and be like, man, do you remember 22 through 25 or 22 through 24?
Yeah.
That's just going to, rebuild over those 3 years and hope that they truly were rebuilding.
Yeah.
Because it is make or break time. You can't talk about the future anymore. This is, year 3? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, this is the year you got to start looking at 9 to 10 wins. I mean,
well, it's year 2 for this particular coaching staff at the University of Alabama. And Kalen DeBoer talked to AL.com, and he was basically asked about why Alabama is going to be successful. And he was mentioning Ryan Grubb, the fact that they've known each other for years and they started working together. I want to say 07, might have said 09, but somewhere in that neighborhood, right? And then he's like, hey, he's coming in with NFL experience, that he's meshed with this coaching staff, and that he feels really confident about this team and the cohesiveness of this group. They didn't have a lot of guys transfer. You're always going to have players transfer, but spring portal, they didn't have anybody transfer, and they've been selective as far as who they've brought in. But the other thing too, and this is kind of what I wanted to get you talking about, not only having Ryan Grubb, but they haven't outright named Ty Simpson the starting quarterback. We assume that he is. And even he said, he's the front runner at this point. What does that mean?
Well, I think it kind of gives Ty the nod. I mean, look, Ty's, I don't see how he's not the quarterback. But I think that compliment or that statement going into summer gives him the nod to, hey, you're the leader. You manage all of these voluntary workouts. You need to be the guy that everybody looks to and for answers and for leadership and how this team needs to be built and how the culture needs to be built over the summertime, because summertime is, that's where the team grows within itself. That's where the culture of the team is built. With Coach Blue and the players, that's where the leadership structure, that's where the foundation of it is generated. And again, I think it's kind of a perfect segue for Ty to really build a lot of confidence going into the summer. And to me, he's a guy that has a lot of confidence already. He's been there for a while. He knows everybody there, even the transfers they brought in over the summertime. He's got relationships with. As of right now, it's a no-brainer, and I think probably the whole locker room is behind him right now. I think it's going to take something drastic, and the other two guys are really going to have to make a push during camp, which is going to be hard to do within a 3-week span. But in general, again, I think it's more so a building block for Ty to really take this team over and become a unit going into camp.
Well, and having Grubb back is going to help out a lot too. Just like he said, I agree with him. The experience there. I see Alabama having a very aggressive offense and attacking. I felt like last year they did some of that. I felt like last year they didn't do some of that. If you ask Shank, he'd say, and they better run the ball. But they're going to throw it.
Yeah, Shank's always going to be biased towards running the ball. There's no doubt about it. But we've talked about it a bunch on this show. Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer being back together. That's you feel like that's really where they generated their coaching styles, was together at a young age. Basically in the playground. Figuring out what kind of personnel groupings they like, what kind of guys, what kind of styles of play they like their players to have, what kind of players, really drive their offense, how to evaluate players coming from Washington and really some programs that didn't have the type of talent to pull from and to make it all the way to a national championship game speaks a lot of their ability to recruit and get guys that are otherwise overlooked. And so, I see a lot of these 3-stars on here. I think they committed over the weekend. I look for some of those guys to probably come out and be standout players. And like I said earlier in the show, I think it's big for them to get some of those guys and have some continuity within the roster. Guys that aren't going to transfer, right off the bat and expect to play right off the bat. I think those pieces to the puzzle are going to be they're going to carry a lot more weight than what you look at just looking at the list, because those are the guys over time. They're going to continue that Alabama tradition and keep that culture a winning culture under Kalen DeBoer, because the guys that are here, this year, gone the next, man, they're not going to make big impressions on Alabama. The guys that are in the locker room for years and years, and some of those guys will probably be player personnel guys after they're done playing. Those are the guys that are going to leave huge impressions on the state of Alabama football. I mean, you think about your Denzel DeValls, Jamie Mosley's. I know Jamie's older brother just retired. Jamie didn't have as long a career in the NFL as his brother, and Denzel DeVall, he didn't have a huge NFL career, but when you walked into that locker room at Alabama, just their personalities alone, their presence. I mean, when I walked in and met Denzel on my visit, I was like, oh yeah, this is the kind of guy I want to play football with. This is the kind of guy that I want as a teammate. And it made total sense that now he's still at Alabama, building that culture within that team, as an old head now, or a guy that's played. I mean, he's
an old head.
Those are the kind of guys that you want in your locker room or in your program. I mean, you just, or old chap, Josh Chapman. I mean, those guys, you want them around. You want them. Oh yeah, you want them teaching your guys. And as a former player, love coming back and seeing those guys. If you've got a son that's going to play, you want Denzel DeVall, putting his arm around him, talking to him every day, because those guys really, really keep those young guys in check and keep them on task.
Yeah, good. Hey, guys, Ocean City, Maryland is back to back Coastal Style Hotel of the Year. But Ocean City offers so many different things, including the White Marlin Open, which is one of the world's largest billfish tournaments. That's coming up in August. You're right there at the amazing hotel called the Residence Inn by Marriott in Ocean City, Maryland. They've got the Ocean City Jeep Fest, if you're a Jeep rider, Sunfest, which is an outdoors music festival in October. They've got a huge craft beer festival, and then also Winterfest of Lights, which is a Christmas holiday display there as well. But our friend Keith runs that place. OC is where we used to go in high school for senior week, and I've always loved it. There's also a restaurant there called Secrets, which is kind of their version of the Floribama. It's just a different, it's great. It's different than what we're used to. You want to get away and try something. And I know some of you guys are even up there, Alabama fans that watch from all over the place. Swing by there, say hi to Keith, and, tell him that Jake and Mick sent you to Ocean City, to the boardwalk, to the Green Turtle restaurant. All right, Jake, look, that does it for today's show. Great to see you again. We're presented by Pearl River over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. We just hung out with the whole gang at Steve Azar's golf tournament, right? We ran the secret, man. If you guys are still here, we ran into Taylor Corn's boyfriend there, which is amazing. What's also amazing, though, is I was talking to Baron Huber, and he's like, yeah, my friends were there from Kentucky, which is so crazy of all the things, right? One of the great tournaments it was presented by Pearl River, but they're over in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Table games and slots at Golden Moon and Silver Star Casino. You also have the Timeout Sports Lounge, which is the sports book, hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 and change from Birmingham. It really is a great experience. We're going through a heat wave right now. Geyser Falls is their water parks. Great place to take the kids. And it really is with the lazy river and everything over there. It's cool. Hey, put the kids over there, and maybe you go over and spend some time at the casino or playing golf at Dancing Rabbit. But and then there's some great acts. Every year they do great acts, and including Jeff Dunham, the comedian's there this year. So thank them. Thank you guys. We will talk to you again later this week. It should be Clint and I tomorrow, but roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.
River Resort.